Congressman, what's at the top of your hit parade today?
Well, I think, getting ready for going back next week, we're in for 12 days in September in which we have to pass a budget by September 30th, debt ceiling either going to be tied to it or immediately following, and a threat from the president that if he doesn't, get the wall, he's going to shut down government. So, that has a huge impact across the board for everyone. So I think that's going to be kind of at front of mind for most members returning.
Yeah. What is the status? Today is the last day. In fact, let me get over to the website. I was just there this morning. If you go to fcc.gov and then click on public comment, and then at the very top of public comment is the public comments, which closed today on restoring internet freedom. It shows 8,570,000. What do you call it? People have posted their, and if you go on and look, they're all, saying, in fact, now it's showing 21.8 million results. So there must be 21.8 million comments here. Your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, you would think that would be more than satisfactory for them to not go in this direction, but they're trying to play with a line that the big providers, AT&T and Verizon and Comcast and a few others, really want to be able to control more around the net. Not only do they want to charge you for internet access, but would also like to charge websites for a fast lane access. What that means are the big companies with lots of money can get access to you quicker, rather than that local business that you may buy from that has a web presence. So it's a bad idea, and I think anyone who's not one of the biggest telecom providers should be against it. But, this is Trump's appointments on the FCC, and I think we're concerned at what direction they may go.
Yeah. I find it amazing that the television, the cable TV networks are owned by companies that are suing the government to end net neutrality, and they're not discussing this topic at all. Maybe they have been today and I missed it, but like I said, today is the last day for comments. This is amazing.
I think if people can comment, it's a good thing to make sure the more they have, the harder it's going to be for them to come up with a decision that's just in the best interest of the telecommunication companies. So if people can, they should try to do it today.
Now, the Republicans they were not enthusiastic about sending money, particularly Texas Republicans, sending money for Hurricane Sandy relief. And as I recall, they weren't all that enthusiastic about even Hurricane Katrina relief after 1,800 people died while George W. Bush was out having cake with John McCain at a birthday party. What's going on with this right now? How do you expect this to play out in Congress?
Well, this is going to be, I think, particularly interesting because when we had Hurricane Sandy relief, Paul Ryan voted against it. 179 Republicans voted against it. I believe everyone in Texas but one Republican voted against it, and that was a wrong vote for them, right? We have to, as a country, if there's a big disaster, we all have to be there for it. And it's been interesting to watch Republicans in the Northeast who were affected by Sandy, who voted for Sandy relief, saying, "Hey, we're going to support Texas because this is what our job as a country is." But then to watch, Ted Cruz and other House Republicans from Texas trying to spin this, that there was a bunch of pork and everything else, and Cruz got 3 Pinocchios for that. This is our job. This is why you have government, and it's going to be interesting if we have people trying to stop assistance going to Texas. And Speaker Paul Ryan, who's supposed to be the adult, gets credit often for being the adult, was one of the people who voted against Hurricane Sandy relief, and I think that's significant.
Yeah. Today is the day that Trump is supposed to be officially starting to peddle his so-called tax reform. There's a great piece in the New York Times today by Sarah Anderson titled "It's a Myth That Corporate Tax Cuts Make More Jobs." What is the position of the Congressional Progressive Caucus on this?
Well, we would love to see, if you want to have tax reform, then we'll give you a very, very different direction to go. We think that you should have higher rates on some of those who are making more money, and let's respect those who are working Americans. If you're going to talk about taxes, not just the top 1% and 2%, not just corporations. We already have plenty of loopholes. Corporations can buy a company in Ireland and do a tax inversion and pay nothing, which many of them do. There's already all these loopholes. I think it's going to be enormously hard for them to get anything done, because I would say 20% of my meetings, Tom, in Washington are people who have some little niche carved out of a tax break, and they want to preserve it, and that makes it harder than healthcare, and we saw how successful they were on that. But we would go in a very, very different direction, making sure that those who have the most can pay a greater share, and that we provide real relief to people who are working class Americans and those aspiring to be in the working class.
Yeah. What's, I'm watching with considerable horror both the activities of Scott Pruitt and Ryan Zinke at EPA and Interior, respectively, and the lack of coverage. These guys are aggressively, making it easier and more profitable for big companies to poison our air and our water and our food supply, and open up public lands for drilling and mining and all this kind of stuff. It seems crazy to me. Is there anything that y'all in Congress can do about this?
Well, I go back to probably what I say almost every week is elections have consequences, right? The Republicans are in charge of the House, the Senate, and the White House. They're allowing these actions. It's very, very difficult. It's not just in this area. I was speaking with a bunch of labor leaders this morning talking about all the rule changes that the Obama administration put in place in the last year of their administration that are being turned back, from OSHA to union rules to all sorts of things. And yet you don't hear much about those either. Unfortunately, whatever the president says in 140 characters will get all the press from the corporate media, and some of these real actions that are affecting people across the country don't get the same attention. And, unfortunately, I don't see Paul Ryan trying to change direction on that, because he's so complicit with whatever happens out of the Trump administration. We're going to have a lot to fix when we finally get the House majority back.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that's a year and a half from now.